Okay, KJ, you're up.
Hello. So good to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Linda. It's been very exciting. She asked me a year ago, and then in December she's like, "What are you going to talk about?" I'm like, when is it? So I was very excited about it. It was like a whole year. So now I have learned so much more in that year, right? Way smarter. Okay, so first I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've got my little blurby thing up there. These are my books. Stealing Time is the series. There's a 4-book series. I've written 2 of the books. I'm on number 3. I've plotted out number 4. And Blow is my short story. And one of the things that I want to tell you about my books is it kind of, the hurricanes that are depicted in the cover is pretty much how I started writing. I moved to Florida in 2004, and 3 days later, Hurricane Charlie hit. It was a really nice welcome. Thank you. It was fantastic. But a year later, I went through Hurricane Charlie. Within 6 weeks, there were 4 major hurricanes that hit Florida. And so a year later, I was like, what a good backdrop for something, right? So I started thinking about it. I took a trip with my family. We lived in Florida then, and we drove to Maine. So I had lots of hours with short people behind me screaming to come up with a concept. And one of the authors that I love is Diana Gabaldon. She does the Outlander series, and it's time travel and it's historical fiction. So I didn't copy her, but she inspired me. One of the things she put in her book is called Outlandish Companion. She was talking about how she writes in scenes. And we were just talking about this. Yeah. She writes in scenes. Instead of writing this whole thing, she has a vision of the scene, writes it out, and then she pieces it together. And I thought, somebody's unorganized like me. I could do that. I could totally do that. It's very creative. So that's when I started plotting the book. It took me until 2015 to actually have something out there. So it took me a very long time. And part of that was I had 3 kids, I moved, I had back surgery, life gets in the way. Hurricanes. But so I finally got my act together and decided I really, really wanted to be a writer. And I went and talked to a guy who was in the publishing business. And it was a good learning experience. He pretty much told me it might take 2 years for them to say no. And you could, send it off to lots of different publishers, and it could take forever. So I thought, I don't really want to do that. So I just kept writing, and I ended up writing what I thought was 1 book, turned out to be 4, and realized that maybe it was too long. And then I turned it into this series, and luckily the whole wide world opened up in indie publishing. So that's where I went. I thought about going with an agent and a publisher. But I have 3 kids. 2 of them are teenagers, and they don't really like me anymore that much. I mean, yeah, they do, but they don't spend time with me. But I have a 10-year-old, and she loves me. So I'm like, I'm not going to give up that time right now. Give it a couple years when she's in high school, and I'll be like, maybe I'll start looking. But right now, I have a couple friends who have gone into publishing. Suzanne Kellman is someone I do the podcast with. I do a podcast called Blondie and the Brit, and I have Jody Thomas will be on it. In mid-April, we're going to record, and we'll be out after that. But anyway, those co-hosts on that, her name is Suzanne Kellman. She's the Brit, the Blondie. And she got picked up by Amazon. Started off as an indie, got picked up by them. And she's writing to deadline, 11 hours a day, for 6 weeks in a row. I thought, I don't want to see my kids. So I'm not going that route now, but I'm not putting that aside. So some of the things I'm going to talk about are how to click the clicker, first of all. Let's see if this will work. Okay. The things that I do. Not only do I write, I have 3 kids. I'm a giant goofball. I like the water. But I have an author consulting business that I'm starting to get more involved in right now. And one of the things I'm doing with people is coaching them. So I'm teaching you how to do these things. A lot of it is social media. Some of it is branding. Things along those lines. So what I try to do is sit down with them and show them how to do it. How do you get onto CreateSpace? How do you set up those books? How do you get onto Amazon? So it's a very hands-on thing. My goal is to teach you how to do it so that you're independent on your own. So it's part consulting, but part also coaching. So, and I love it. It's been so much fun. I got several people who were taken up by the whole Tate publishing that company kind of went under, and so a lot of them were kind of like paying. So it was really fun to kind of help them become independent. So I also do book covers. My company is called Bondi's Custom Book Covers. I work with a professional photographer, and we have a blast. I absolutely love that. And I've designed my own covers and lots of other things. The cover, Rejected Writer's Christmas Wedding, that's Suzanne's cover we just did for her this December. It's the third in her series, and they're all similar looking. And I also have the podcast, so I hope you check it out. It's Blondie and the Brit, blondieandthebrit.com, and it's on iTunes and Podbean, and we have 86 episodes with some amazing authors like Judy, and we've had Kim on the program, and a lot of things. So we talk about publishing, marketing, and writing. Okay, we're doing a little survey. I want to find out what kind of authors, what flavor authors we have here. Can anyone who is not yet published raise their hand? Several. Oh, wow, good chunk. Okay. What about independently published? Okay, and traditional? Okay, good smattering. I love it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, this is what I'm going to cover today. I've learned a lot as an indie author, and there's no way I could tell all of it to you in an hour. But these are the things that I'm going to cover. I was, my previous life, before kids, I worked as a director of marketing communications for a national behavioral healthcare company. So marketing is my work. This is one of the things a lot of authors complain about is the marketing. I love it. I actually probably spend more time on it, and Suzanne loves it, so we have these little powwows we're talking about it. I'm like, shouldn't we be writing? Well, yes, but we also love the marketing. So I love it, and so this is going to be marketing heavy because that's kind of my deal. First, we're going to talk about your target market. Who are your readers? I don't know if you can see the caption that says Adobe Acrobat Reader. Who are your readers, right? Probably not that program, but it's very important when you're figuring out your brand, your platform, where you're going to go on social media to figure out who your readers are. Are you writing to children? Are you writing to women? Is it a romance? Are you writing hard science fiction where it may be a little more male-oriented? So you need to start, kind of take a step back from the depths of your book and think about what your target market is. Who are these people? So you're going to create the rest of your platform and branding with that in mind. Okay. My market, I already told you, Outlander, Diana Gabaldon, she now has this mini-series out that's very popular. And when I first started writing, I knew that that was probably my genre. A lot of people that like Outlander, I think, would probably like my book. It's similar. Not in every way, but it is. So when you're thinking about your target market, maybe think about who has inspired your writing. What authors have you looked up to and kind of write similar to maybe a similar genre? What popular author has a similar book? Maybe they didn't inspire you, but now that you're looking on Amazon, you can see what kind of things are out there that are selling well. That's an important factor too. They're selling well. What age are your readers? Are you talking about middle school kids? Are you talking about maybe people in their 50s, older, younger? And what other books are in your genre? So look around on Amazon. It's a great place to just look up a category and go through it and see what the book covers look like, see who's reading it, maybe see who's talking about it on social media. You can get a sense of who your target market is. And do men or women like yours? I wrote mine for both. Mine are grittier than like a romance, but there's some romance in there. So I kept it so it's gender neutral. And that has its own problems, but that's another one. Okay, so with that in mind, let's talk about your brand. We have the definition of branding is right here. So the point of a brand is to find a unique name and image for a product with consistent theme to differentiate your book from others and to attract and retain loyal customers. No easy task, right? That's a lot to ask for in a brand. So I'm going to give you some examples of some brands that I think are working well. First of all, let's look at the top 10 global brands. This is in the world. And I'm so happy to see so many American companies up there. When you see these brands, you have an image in your mind of what they are. Do they have good customer service? What are their products? They have spent billions and billions of dollars to make you feel a certain way about them. And that has changed over time. Think of Coke. It's had a lot of different slogans and feelings, and it's changed with the times. Amazon, Coca-Cola. These are brands that, of course, will never be that brand, but it gives you an idea of kind of what things, when we say brand, that you should be focusing on. There's a look to their logo. There's a feeling that you get from this brand. This is my brand. So I'm going to have you all think about your brand as I talk about it. I went on to my reviews and I looked at what they were saying about my writing. Edge of your seat, breathtakingly original, historically refreshing, and the genre and mood I write. Time travel, severe weather, hurricanes, historical. When I do my brand things, I also have a blog called Blondie in the Water, and that's little travel stories. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But so in my brand, I have water, science, and weather. So when I'm putting all my things together, those are the things that I share my content on those items. All right. So author branding. We're going to talk about your brands. As I'm going through the next couple slides, I want you to start thinking of your brand because I'm going to make you write a couple words down about it. So pay attention to me, but also get your minds working for that. The branding is kind of the roadmap for your whole package, your author platform, your cover, your blurb, your elevator speech. Every element of your bookmarking is going to be connected into this. Okay, so before you get all deep in it, you want to kind of take a little step back and just think broadly to start. Here's mine on Twitter. You can see K.J. Waters, author of breathtaking original fiction. I like that. I put it on there. And I don't know if you know, if you all are on Twitter, there is a place to add more characters to your name. So I added, this is my actual name on Twitter, K.J. Waters, author of breathtaking fiction, original fiction. So you can add that, and it just gives people a little more sense of who you are. Oh, that's an author. Ooh, what is she writing? So in my graphic, I have here my covers. You can see the severe weather. You can see the excitement. You know, I've got the words on there. I'm a best-selling author on Amazon, and it gives you some of the things that I talked about. You can't always get everything, but I feel like you can capture that in visuals so that people, as they're skimming through, that might catch their eye if that's what they're interested in. Okay, so we're going to go through some other author brands. This is the children's author. Her name is Tara Lazar. Her bio says, funny author lady. That's kind of cool. When you first read it, you're like, yeah, well, look at the font. That's kind of a fun, kid-ish font. The graphics have her books. Now, the way I took this picture, it cut off the very top of it, but that's how you see her when you come up on Twitter. Her first tweet here, Little Red Gliding Hood says. That's probably one of her characters. That's kind of fun. So everything she's got up there, the pictures, look at her. She's very approachable with her picture. You know, it looks like a kid's author. Everything about it is in that same brand, right? Very clear. So her brand is whimsical. Next one, romantic. She writes, author of historical, medieval, mystery, and children's fiction. You can see the floral designs, the covers. Her first tweet out now, available in paperback. Obviously, she's an author. So you can kind of see her wistful look. She's kind of serious, but is she thinking about that romance? You know, she's got to have everything about it. Visually is talking about her brain. I am very serious. All right, serious stuff. I am serious. Cover, my picture says, right? Nonfiction author of, and then he names his books. Delighted that my book, so-and-so will be playing a key role in the movie of my book. You know right away, he's got a movie, he's got a book. His book is called Pacific, available now. And you can see that the images are connected to his cover. You can kind of sense in a glance what he's about, right? Okay, now it's your turn. Let's talk about 5 words I want you to write down. 5 words that convey your brand. And if this is too easy for you, step 2 is talk about what fonts, what images, what visuals you could use to convey that brand. If that's too hard for you, stick with your 5 words. Ready? Go. Anybody ready to share theirs? Let's start with you.
Biblical commentaries and biblical doctrines. That describes everything.
There you go. What would you use as visuals for that?
This is the cover I use for my commentaries. Same cover every time. And then the doctrinal books varies according to the subject. That particular one was marriage and family, so that was particularly the easy one to do.
Yeah, right?
This is striking paper too.
Thank you.
That's good. Anybody else?
Come on, be brave.
Yes.
What voices influence your choices?
Are you asking me, or is that your?
And that's the 5 words.
Oh, wait, what? Oh. If you have a second, what, okay, so tell me what that means.
Well, you know, your inner voices.
Yeah.
Are talking to you, whether they're good or bad, and they influence the choices that you make in life.
Right, now how do you convey that visually?
Well, I've got a designer working, I don't know fonts
Yeah,
and
yeah.
colors and things like that. So I have given my whole idea to a designer and I'm waiting for them to come. I mean, you can.
What did you tell your designer? What,
Well, I told
You
them
gotta tell
about the book.
right, the genre, give us like 5 words that are about your book, because you need to have something that's visual, that people can hear and then think of it. So what do you think for your, you do historical
It's
fiction,
historical.
so that would be a start. And it's Christian, right?
Yeah, although I've been told not to just put it that it's Christian.
Yeah, but you can convey it subtly somewhere so that it will catch people that are in your target market's eye, right? You don't have to be outward with it, but you can have a little symbolism in there that they may get. So yeah, so you want to have something that's more concrete, that you can kind of, when you hear the word, you think it. Anyone else want to share theirs? Yeah.
I've got fashion, travel, mission, women, and action.
Very good. And how would you convey that?
Like,
And she's gonna hold up.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. That's exactly, that hits it very well. And then the visuals are very clear. We're gonna get into book covers in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to use Linda's.
Okay.
But first I'll show you all her stuff.
Oh, goodness.
But I thought you did a good job. Okay, first we're gonna talk about author platform. This is connected to your brand, but it's more specific. There's me in California on vacation one day, and these are the ways that I have an author platform. Or they could be the ways that you are. I'm not on TV yet, but social media, your blog, newsletter, podcast, radio show, speaking engagements, TV series. It's any established media form for which you connect with your audience, right? So we all have a platform probably right now. You're all in this group, you're talking to other authors, that's one of your platforms. You're making connections with writers in the real world. There's a lot more to it, I wanted to tell you a little story about my platform and how it helped me. Why this is so important for an author. I released my short story Blow during a Facebook party for Suzanne Kelman. She released her book, and I was trying to rush to get it done on time. I hadn't really done any marketing whatsoever, zero. And so during the Facebook party, I teased it. I had pictures of someone blowing bubbles. I had pictures of a hairdryer, and I was trying to get the audience to guess what the title of my book was. At the very end of the party, I announced it was called Blow. It was about Hurricane Ivan and a few other things that are connected to that word. And I gave everybody a free copy who came to that party. And then I sat in bed the next day with strep and did nothing. I was like, oh, I'm going to release them all, do all these things, and did nothing. Suzanne texted me the next day and said, you're at number 60. I was like, what? How? You know, I was like, okay, I guess I better like post it on social media or something. So I did, but the reason that happened was, I got a very exclusive group that got a free copy, and then they started talking about it. It was a short story, so they could put a review up pretty quickly. I had a little street team that I told about to come to the party, so they were there. I have, all told in all my social media combined, about 50,000 people that follow me. So by putting it out on social media, I got it up to number 6 within like 2 days. And that wasn't with me paying a lot of social, you know, a lot of costs. I didn't pay for any advertising. That was just me and my network. Those are my people. They've been waiting. I had a book out, and they're like, oh my God, what's she gonna write something else? Well, then I had something. So, and it was short, and it was easy to put a review up. So that's what your platform can do for you. There's a lot of ways to grow your platform, and you should be working on that every week. And if you want to know how, I'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, let's look at Linda's.
Oh goodness, I just changed it. Oh God.
Well, I took the pictures a couple
Oh,
days
good.
ago.
Okay, because I'm in between.
This is Linda on Amazon. And
Yeah.
if you aren't aware, you can go on Amazon author page. If you published a book and put a bio, pictures, connections to videos, you can post your blog automatically from Amazon. These are all things that you can do. And if you don't have a website yet, but you do have a book, or if you have a smaller website, everyone on Amazon can see this. Yeah.
Can you put something on YouTube where you talk about it and then put a link to that?
You can put videos up, yeah, so you would take your YouTube link or a video link and you can upload it directly on your Amazon author page. So if you haven't done that, or if you did it a long time ago, go back in there, poke around, fix your bio, update it, look at what other things, you know, other people are doing, their videos, what if you've had a speaking engagement and you've written a blog, whatever it is, put it up on your Amazon page. That goes out to anyone that's looking at it. Anyone clicks on your name anywhere on Amazon, they look at your book, they see your name is in the hyperlink, you click on it, and this is where it goes. Really important for an author, and a very
It is. It's
good
very
looking place to put your stuff, because it's very professional, has all your books, and Linda's got lots and lots and lots. Lots and lots of books. Okay. Linda on Twitter, Linda on Facebook. Is this what you have right now? Yeah.
No.
No? She's changed it already.
Uh,
But that's
on
okay.
Twitter.
On
The
Twitter, okay.
is not that anymore. But
Okay. But I thought the brand fit. Why don't you tell us what your 5 words are for your brand?
Okay, it's cowboys, horses, a gun, a Colt pistol, an old western backdrop of a town.
And I'm gonna add well-drawn characters and a feisty heroine.
Okay,
And you know why I say that? Because she has it on her book cover. I mean, on her bookmarks. So I know what her brand is. Those are her 5 words. She didn't have them all when she said them, but they're there in her marketing materials. On her bookmark, it says that exact thing: feisty heroine, well-drawn characters, authentic Wild West, romance. With all those words, you know what she writes. In 5 words, you know what she writes. With these visuals, you know what she writes. You can tell by the covers. You can tell by the, you know, the Wild West background, kind of a romancy, soft look. New York Times and USA Today bestselling author of historical Western romance. I love writing about rugged cowboys. There's just something about a man in a Stetson. Doesn't that make you want to read her books? Even if you don't like Westerns, that's a go buy it. That's a very short, concise. And I would say go to your Linda Burdett. You could even put some of those words in your name. They give you more characters now for your name. Facebook, you see the horse, you see the dudes, the hot dudes in their little hats, right? That is like that is a really good image. And when I look at that,
Oh, good. I made it.
you did. She made that.
I
Town.
designed it. Oh,
See?
on Canva.
On Canva, I'm gonna talk about Canva in a second. Okay, so Linda Brodick, author. So you get a very good sense of what she's about. You have about 8 seconds. Someone looking at your book cover, someone looking at your Twitter. That's it, and you're lucky if you get 8 seconds, right? Probably more like 2 or 3. So you better have your stuff down. This visual is extremely important. Okay. We've got Linda. Oh, whoa, here's her website.
Oh.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Heartfelt Stories of the Old West. I love that. Doesn't that make you want to read it? Let's all go buy her book. She's got good solid books, lots and lots of choices. But she's got her book, one of her covers on there, the little booth with the flowers. You know what that is? That's cowboy romance. There's guns, and she, has a little welcome thing. So it's very well done. Sorry to put you on the spot, but you do good branding, so people know who you are.
I love that.
You're like a real person, Okay. Where do you begin with your author platform? This says, I want 1 trillion followers. Back from Austin Powers. All right. Before I had a book to release, I started my blog called Blondie in the Water. Someone told me you have to show a writing sample to possible readers, because I had nothing. I was just some lady writing a book for 10 years. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to publish that thing. I did. But before I did, I started a blog. I also had someone else tell me that you need to have a sexy title. Blondie in the Water. You know how many porn things are tag that? So I had to do a special thing so that they don't end up on my page. But so I started with the blog, and what I did is so I used to live in Florida. You heard that part. I grew up in Maryland. When I moved to Texas, I started fondly calling it Dirtville, partly because I didn't want people to know on Facebook and Twitter where I live, because I have kids and they're creepers. Trust me, there's creepers out there. So I was very careful. So I started calling it Dirtville. So then I thought, well, how funny to write stories about the water. And so Blondie in the Water is like my therapy for moving away from the water. I used to live a block from the beach in Virginia Beach. So it's so I have these things. I went to Bermuda, went to the beach in Virginia, all these little stories. So I've been writing those since I started my blog about 10 years ago. And right now I've had about over 200,000 visitors. My best month, I had 11,000 people hit my blog. That's pretty good for just nobody, everybody. Now, I had my book out, just doing more marketing by then. Mostly what I do with that blog now is I post it on Twitter, the same things I've done. I've got maybe 50 blogs, 80 something blog posts. And I retweet them. I reshare them on Twitter, occasionally on my Facebook posts. And there's enough people out there. I have 24,000 people that follow me on Twitter. Not everyone's read it. So now what I'm doing with that book, those stories, is I'm turning that into a book called Blondie in the Water. It's a short story collection. I've already written it, right? I just have to clean it up. So it's really good use. So if you are doing a blog like that, think about turning it into another product. Okay, so the ways you can grow your author platform: blogging, your Amazon author page, website, social media, newsletters. There's all kinds of other ideas, and you guys have probably done some of these things, but it's a really good place to start. Pick one of these things, try it out if you haven't really started yet. If you've done some of these, try a few of the other ones. Now, something I need to tell you that I think is extremely important is this: newsletters. Email is 40 times better than all social media combined at acquiring customers. I started a newsletter last year when I found out that they work. I put my website is on Wix.com. I picked it because I didn't want WordPress, even though everyone told me to do WordPress. I picked it because it was really easy. Half hour, I can throw something up there. I can do my newsletters, and on Wix they have a little newsletter thing called a shout out, and I can put it together in half hour, 15 minutes. So this is from my February newsletter. I love you a latte. I had a little contest, and this was really the first time I tried an actual contest. I was just offering a $10 gift card for anyone that responded to that email. One, I wanted to see who was out there listening. Was it just crickets creeping? Or was it actually people? And so I had all these people respond. The other thing it did is that when people respond to your newsletter, it doesn't get looked at as spam by Google, by all the other email. So it looked like a real legit email, and it was, but you're sending it to such a big number of people. So I do about once a month. I have very short, maybe 3, with a link, with an image. And I do newsletter swaps with authors, so if I go in their newsletter, I can put their stuff, they have a book launch, a little blurb, and then it links in either to their blog or their Amazon site. I try to do one contest a month, just maybe something little, free books. I had some leftover codes from an Amazon Amazon giveaway, so I was giving out free copies of my book to the top 5 people that responded to the email. You can do anything you want. I mean, that's the kind of nice thing about newsletter. No one's really controlling it. It's on your head. But every time I put my book on there, and I don't do it every time, my rankings on Amazon go up that same day. And you can see how many people clicked it. You can see who clicked it. You can even see who didn't open it. Gives you a lot of good information about who's paying attention. Okay. This is the image I use for my Amazon giveaway. You can use Canva. Canva.com is a super easy,
It's free.
place where you can design. It has a lot of backgrounds. You can upload your own backgrounds. You can upload your book covers. And so I've done a lot of things in Canva. Super easy to use, and it does beautiful work. So then you can download it from the site and use it. You can even save it on the site and use it again and edit it. Newsletters, there's a lot of different advertising places that are either free or not that expensive. Local signings, conventions, and festivals. Last month I went to the Comic-Con, beloved Comic-Con, not having ever been to one, and it was very interesting talking to a guy about his book. He's wearing a dress with green lipstick, and I was like, trying to focus on his words, but it was cool. It was so cool, these people and all that stuff. There's ways to branch out that maybe you're outside of your comfort zone, but they really paid off. I sold a ton of books, and the way I did it was I just gave them my elevator pitch. Used all my little branding things in there. I'd said it to you at the beginning. I moved to Florida in 2004, and that's where it starts. And then I explain to them, and I say, a little bit more about the story. And it worked. A lot of people are interested, and a lot of people came up. One of the other things I do is I run the Barnes & Noble Author Support Group in Lubbock, and it's Thursdays at 7:30 if you're ever out there. Come and join us. It's just authors. I know Joe's been a few times. We talk about whatever it is, it's different people each time that come, and we talk about these kind of things. This time I trained them on something I learned about a victory journal. Instead of a to-do list, you write down the victories you had that day. And I can talk about that another time. But it's a much more positive way to give yourself credit for what you've done. Okay. How to grow your newsletter. One of the things that I do, this is the graphic I throw up on Twitter once or twice a week. Sign up for my newsletter, join the fun with behind-the-scenes peeks, special offers, and extras. So you can offer free chapters. Anyone that signs up for my newsletter gets the first 5 chapters of one of my books. You can do anything you want. You can even give them a free book. If you've got a series, you can give them the first book in the series. There's a lot of ways, things that you can do. You can have contests through there or whatever. Authors cross-promotion. AuthorXP.com is an amazing site by Amy Van Sant. We've had her on the podcast 2 months ago. And she runs this company where you can pay $10 for an ad to go into her newsletters. And I swear, every time I've done it, my Amazon rankings bump up. Lots of hits, lots of readers are on there. There are people who like to read. She also does contests where you as an author can pay to be part of a newsletter building thing. And she gives away the books, the author books. Yeah.
I just did a book sweeps with Ryan Z Promotions, and it cost $60. I got 700 email addresses to add to my newsletter, and plus got my book out to millions. So
yes. So the first time I did it with Amy, I got 2,200 people. I got 20 people on my newsletter. It was 2,200 people. Now it's getting a little less each time, but
and it's not that expensive.
it's not that expensive, and the people that are on that list are readers of your genre, which is crucial. That's why your newsletters work, because you've got the right people that are on them, your target market, right? Okay. Relationship marketing. Who knows what that is? Raise your hand if you know what relationship marketing is. Relationship marketing is what you're doing every time you go on social media. You're trying to create a relationship. You're not like, buy my book, buy my book. You're trying to like make conversations with people. The point of it is to attract readers, convert them to customers, retain them with special offers. Maybe you have a street team, and delight them. I just started recently a video chat, and I was kind of shy. I was like, do I want to do it? But what I do is I show them, like one time I was sitting in my writing cave, which also doubles as my kid's toy room with jungle behind me. So the good lighting was with all that in the background. So I was like, oh, whoops, you know. So I was like, what they want from you is for you to be authentic. And boy, was I authentic. Transparency, they want to see kind of your process. And they want to see sincere actions. The big corporate stuff might work for the big brands, but for you as an author, they want to know who you are. They want to know what you write about. They want to know what you're thinking, maybe what you're working on. And it's exciting when they feel like they're part of that. Linda knows. Okay. Think of this is relationship marketing of the big brands. Starbucks. How many of you are part of their rewards program? If you're not signed up, you get free coffee on your birthday. And they also give you points for every time you go. Same with JCPenney. I go back there and shop because I know I'm going to get a $10 certificate. Best Buy's the same thing. This is relationship marketing. They're trying to interact with their audience. Okay? And to giveaways, contests, the frequent flyers and all the airlines, that's relationship marketing. They want you to come back and be loyal to their brand. Punch cards. Okay. Social media. All right. Who's ready? Who here is on social media? Raise your hand if you're on any kind of social media. Almost there. Okay. What about just Facebook? Okay, yeah, that's fine. Doubles. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We got good smash. YouTube. Who's on YouTube?
I don't have videos, but I have a couple of
An account.
accounts. So, yeah.
You watch them, but you don't have your videos up. Pinterest. Who's on Pinterest? I thought there'd be some Pinterest. Okay. Instagram. And I'll bet there's very few Snapchats in here. Anybody on Snapchat?
She's on Snapchat.
Here's one. Okay, so that's the social media that I'm talking about. Who here has a website? Almost everybody. Who here has a blog? How many on your website do you update it once a month? Why not? Why not? You should be updating with new specials every week. Yeah, I get on there. I get on mine a lot. Okay, so you should get more interactive with your website. Okay. So, all right. Why is it important to be on social media? I'm going to tell you. If you didn't think it was important, you're going to have to tell you all these things. 2.3 billion active users on social media in the world. How many of those people do you want to buy your book? All of them, right? Right? Americans check their social media accounts 17 times a day. Don't you wish they were looking at your book one of those times? Right? Lots of money in advertising on this. Okay. Facebook. 2 billion people are on Facebook. 68% of all adults in the United States are on Facebook. Strategy for Facebook. Try to post something fun, entertaining, maybe a little more personal, something about your kids, something about what you're about to do that day. You don't want to do buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. And I'll tell you what. Here's why. Well, I'll have to get that in a second. Facebook is the biggest brand that you're on, but it is a very small market. The people who follow you are your followers and your family members. They don't want to hear about your book every 10 minutes. But on Twitter, they do. A tweet lasts 24 minutes. You could throw another one out there, right? Okay, 328 million monthly active users. It's increasing by 14% each year. 500 million tweets are sent every day. Right? It's big out there. 6,000 tweets are sent every second. Each user has about 208 followers. I don't want that. Do you? Who's on Twitter has more than 1,000 people? A couple of you? Work towards this. This is something that really, really will help you. And the way you do that is you go to authors that you write like, follow their followers, and they follow you back and start engaging with them. I have Outlander hashtag on my bio because I want those people to follow them and they see Outlander on my hashtag, they might think, oh, what's that? Facebook versus Twitter. Facebook is like a barbecue, backyard barbecue. All your friends and family, you're mingling. You might mention your book. They may ask you about your book, but you're not going to be like talking about it the whole time because they're not going to bite you back. They're going to be like, oh, seriously, arrest, right? But on Twitter, it's more like this is more like a cocktail party. People you don't know, you're a little more, not necessarily formal, but you're presenting yourself in a little different way. And you're going to have this similar conversation. What do you do? Oh, I write books. Right. So and then you move on to the next person. So Twitter, you have a lot more volume. This is why you need to be on Twitter. If you're not, you should. This is how I launched that book to number 60 while I was sitting in bed with stuff there. Because I had a lot of people following. Okay, so when you post on Twitter, I like this picture because it's weird, right? I posted this once on one of my social media, and I asked for people like, what does this mean to you? And it was the funnest conversation I ever had. Orangutan walking away from playing with flowers. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you about the 2-1-1 rule. This is how you post content on all social media, but especially Twitter because you're having a little more volume on there. 2 pieces of content for your readers. This doesn't mean your book. This means, hey, I write romance. Here's a little interesting fact about, 18th century France and how they, used flowers in the wedding ceremony. Whatever it is, like towards your genre. These are people, they want to read your content, not necessarily your book. So 2 parts, that kind of content. Some of that is retweeting other authors and sharing other people who share your work stuff. One of them is soft sell. Hey, I wrote this cool blog about my water story. They go to my blog, they see my other books, they see I'm writing a book about these stories. So it's the soft sell. You're promoting your knowledge in something, but you're not being super specific about my book. But they're seeing it, right? And then one is a hard sell. My book is available and blah, blah, blah. Here's a quote. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. That's the 2-1-1 rule. That's what you should be doing when you share social media. That counts for all the places you're putting it. Give them something they want to read. They will follow you. And you're looking for your target market. Make it specific. Think about what your target market wants to read. Depends on what you're writing, what age group you're looking at, right? Okay, Instagram. How many people are on Instagram? Did I ask that already? I got a bunch. Okay, it's very visual. You want to post visual things. 800 million monthly active users. It's growing quickly. Half of users use it every single day. 90% of Instagram users are younger than 35. I have a lot more information on these, so I'll get to this in a minute. But this is a very good one if you write for younger audiences, because that's where those people are. They're on Instagram. Pinterest, 200 million active users. I have a really cool fact about Pinterest. If you're not on Pinterest and you write for women, you need to be on Pinterest. And what you want to do on Pinterest is you want to pin the images you have up on your website onto Pinterest. Because one pin is 100 times more spreadable than a tweet. And the life of a pin is 1 week compared to 24 minutes for a tweet. So think about that. You share an image from your website on Pinterest, it stays up there for a week. People are looking at that again and again. Then they go to your website. What's on your website? Buy my books. Here's my newsletter. Sign up. All the things that you want to have on there. 55% of pinners use Pinterest to shop for products. 200 million users, and 42% of all women online in the U.S. are on Pinterest. Do you write to women? Go to Pinterest. Start pinning your book, pin your newsletters, pin whatever it is you create in Canva. Do all that and connect it to your website. Okay, YouTube. 1 billion users. That's where that guy needs to go to get his billion followers, right? 1 billion users. 300 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every minute. Wow. 3.25 billion hours of video on YouTube. Throw away your TV, people. You've got free YouTube right there. That's the rest of your life. You can watch YouTube, right? You may not like what you're watching. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you very quickly, because we're running out of time. These are how you market to each generation. So think right now for a minute about what generation you're. Maybe you can do a couple, but here we go. You ready? It's going to be quick. Generation Z, 13 to 19, they represent 44 billion in annual purchasing power. Thank you, mom and dad, right? 13 to 17-year-olds, they left Facebook in 2014. Why? We were there. Snapchat. They put to Snapchat, where all the young kids are. And you're right, there are a lot of old people. 33% of Generation Z would like brands to reach them by email. I would not have thought that was true, but you have an email, right? I mean, you have a newsletter. Here you go. Here you go. 32% of U.S. teens say Instagram is their favorite social media platform. Are you marketing to teens? Go to Instagram. Okay. Millennials, 20 to 35 years old. Each millennial spends $2,000 on average online each year. Millennials have the highest number of Facebook friends of any generation. I didn't necessarily know that was true, but there you go. There's a good fact. 87% of millennials use Facebook. Millennials believe that user-generated content, Linda's, Canva, is more trustworthy and 35% more memorable than branded imagery. They like your stuff more than they like the big brands. That's pretty cool. Generation X, 36 to 49. 48% of Generation X has Twitter. Right? 40% of Generation X prefers viewing online content on laptops. You might want to have your images a little bigger if this is your target market. Enough fun. Generation X actively uses Instagram, that's 8%. 36 of Pinterest pinners are between 30 and 44 years old. Baby boomers, 50 to 65. 70% of the U.S. disposable income is in this category. Is this your group? They got money to spend. Give them your book. Sell them your book, right? 54% of older American adults own smartphones. And they maybe don't see as well. You want to have a good big graphic, right? Baby boomers have Facebook accounts, 84%. 58% visit a company's website after encountering their brand on social media. You want them to be one of yours, right? Go to your website. Okay, this is one of near and dear to my heart, book covers. Book cover is part of your brand. Book cover might be the most important part of your brand because it is what your product is representing, right? It's not just you as your author, this is your product. If your book cover is not very good, you have 3 seconds for someone to skip you. They'll glance and they'll move on. You don't want that to happen. You want to have a very good book cover. And you're looking for your target market here too, right? And your brand. And once you make a really good book cover, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's part of your social media strategy as well. So spend a little extra money if you need to on your book cover. It's really important. It also sets a tone for your book. If it's bad, what does it say about the book? It might not be true, but that's what people are going to think. They do judge you by your book cover. That is true. Okay. Important elements. Capture the reader's imagination. Evoke emotions. Hint at the story. Make it visually appealing. And keep it simple, stupid. Very simple. And I'll tell you why. These are things to consider. The title. I'm going to go through each of these really quickly. Title, font, quality of image, and rule of thirds I'm not going to get into, but if you're curious about it, look it up. It's a photography concept. You divide the book cover into 3 segments, and it's much more visually pleasing to take up 2/3 of that, not the full cover. So if you really want to look at the design, look that up. It's really important. They've got some really good things on. Just Google it, and they'll show you exactly how they've done it with some other covers, some famous people's covers too. Okay, title matters. Cooking with poo. My daughter's 10, and we keep saying this to each other randomly just to make each other laugh. Cooking with poo. Now, it's cute, right? But when you think about it, like, I don't know. I don't really want that. Fonts matter. Can you read the title of this book?
No.
Most people, when they see your book for the first time, you're seeing it on Amazon as a thumbnail. And if you don't have good graphics and a good big title, let's say someone in the back of the room, can you read my title?
Yes.
That's a long ways off. I made my title really big because I want people to see it when they're on Amazon or wherever else they're looking at. They see the title, and you want to make sure they can see your name. I can't really see the name. The name is Montgomery, which is a little questionable too. There's no person, but anyway. And I'm not picking on these books. I'm just saying there's a lot they could do to add. I'm picking on the poo one. Okay. Image matters. And this one has also made the double faux pas of garish colored letters. And they've used a font that is something you would find in your book. It's like a Times New Roman or something. I don't know. What does the image mean? The name of the book is Growing Up During War. I'm so confused. Was the war in a whirlpool underwater? I don't know. I'm not sure what the image is. So I feel like they didn't take the time to connect the brand, to connect the title to their story, and they probably lost a ton of customers with that color. Nope. It's probably good, I don't know. But I just, the image is scary. I'm not sure my daughter, she's like, no, it's so scary. And if it's a teen book, like, do you want to scare your readers off before they even get on there? She's done good. I like the font. It's got good colors, but okay. And this one is actually quite a beautiful cover, but it's so busy. Where's the focal point? We have a pair of shoes at the bottom. We have a microphone in the middle. We have words. We have a guy, a bird, and then there's wolf eyes at the top. There's a lot going on. And as a thumbnail, look at the thumbnail. I don't know what that is. Maybe you can make out that there's a dude's body, but you can't see her name at all. So whenever you're designing something, make it a thumbnail before you're finished with it. You may need to make your fonts bigger. Even if the fonts cover up a lot of your image, that is okay. You're trying to create a mood. You're trying to evoke emotions. You don't need all this stuff. She could have stuck with maybe 2 of those things. The coloring is beautiful. It's actually a very nice illustration. I'm very, I like the visual. It's just, it's too much. Okay. So everything you do online as a visual, you want to make sure you follow those concepts. Make the titles big, make sure people can read it. These are things that I have put out on Twitter and Facebook. Little sales that I've had. This has been posted. I used make it in Canva, put it on my website, and then I put it in my newsletter, and then I tweet it, and then I Facebook it, and then Instagram it, maybe. So just as you're creating all these things, it's really important to kind of think about these things. Can you read your name, your title? Is it visually appealing? How is your brand? Does it connect in? Does your book cover match your brand? Maybe you need to change your brand if your books are really representing more of what you're doing. So with that, I am going to conclude and allow you to ask any questions if you have any. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. How much time do you dedicate a day to your online marketing compared to your writing time?
Compared to my writing time, a lot more. Because I have this, and while I'm waiting in traffic, or waiting, not traffic. I'm waiting in the drive-thru line for my daughter. I'm on here. When I'm waiting in line at Target, I'm tweeting, so I try to fill it in the little spaces that are kind of pointless time. I have 3 children, and I work, and I write, and I have all these other things going on. So I don't write as much as I want to. And that's one of the things I was going to talk about, but I didn't have enough time, was planning and structure. And that's something that is really important. That's why I started using that victory journals, like you write down things that maybe the to-do list says what you didn't do. The victory journal is what did you get done today? And mine is always marketing. I always did that in a day. Anybody else? Yeah.
What was the thing that you said you used to make your newsletters, not Blogspot, but?
Oh, I use Wix as my website. And through my website, they have something that's email marketing is called a shout out. Now, whatever website you have, and if you haven't done one yet, there's a lot of choices out there. I looked for quite a while. I picked Wix because it was easy. I could figure it out quickly, update it, and make changes. It's not super, It is one of the least expensive out there. I don't remember because I keep upgrading for more newsletter subscribers. There's little pieces that you can add to it, but it's very affordable.
A really good free option is MailChimp.
MailChimp is good, but Suzanne uses that, and she told me she had to farm out the graphic design for that because it's kind of complicated. So there's a downside to it. If you're like with the shout outs on Wix, it doesn't take much technical knowledge to put those up. But you're right, MailChimp is a really good mail service, and it might even be better than the Wix one, but it is a little bit harder to graphically design. Yeah.
That Canva.com, how do you spell that?
CANVA.com.
CANVA,
like a canvas but shortened.
Okay, so as an author, I feel like it's sometimes really hard for us to take all of our books and condense it down into 5 words.
Yeah.
We're thinking of everything we're trying to convey. And so as part of your consulting business, Do you work with people to help them narrow that down?
Yes, actually, that's one of the first things I do with someone is we sit down and we have that exercise that we all did. What are the 5 words that convey your brand? And then we fine tune it. And from there, then you start the bigger picture of what you're doing. And since I'm building my consulting business, I wanted to offer to all of you here, anyone that's interested, a free 30-minute consultation. I have business cards and flyers and things that if you want to give me a call, we'll set something up. There's online ways that we can chat, or if you're in Lubbock, we can do it. Just to kind of talk about some of this stuff. What are your questions? What things do you want to know about? And then if there's more that you want to do, I mean, I really love helping authors. That's how I got to where I am, is I had tons of people helping me and giving me their time. So I love doing it. It makes me very, very happy.
Are you in Lubbock or in Amarillo?
I'm in Lubbock.
You're in Lubbock, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're an independent author. Did you publish first on Amazon or?
Yeah, I went exclusively with Amazon at the KDP, and now I have my newest book's on Amazon exclusive. My other ones are wide through Barnes and Noble and all the other places through Draft to Digital and the other things. Yeah.
You mentioned Wix extensively. How do you spell that?
Oh, that's a good question. Wix.com. There's other good ones out there. Weebly is another one that people really like. It's very easy to design.
Is there an ideal number of times a month to post a blog? What
I
would you
think
recommend is the ideal?
I think it depends on what your goal is. If you're about to publish a book and you like to blog, I mean, here's the thing. You heard all the things that I talked about. Do you have time to do all of them? You really probably don't, unless you can full-time market. So what you have to do is kind of think about what you like the most. Blogging might be your thing. And if you really like to blog and you want to do it once a week, some people do it once a day. I would say just whatever it is you decide to do, schedule it out ahead of time, have things done so that it isn't a stressful moment. You don't want to add to your stress. You can have, every month on, first day of the month, I publish a blog, and then people kind of know too, they come to your content. So I would say that's kind of individual, but frequent. If you're going to do it twice a year, it's kind of pointless, I mean, not pointless, but you're not going to get as much out of it as you could.
Yeah, I was gonna point out consistency.
Yes.
You've got to be consistent.
Exactly.
Whatever you decide, once a week, once a month, you've got to do it.
Consistently, because your readers are expecting that. As soon as you fall off that wagon, they're gone, they're looking
Yeah,
at someone else's
they're
blog,
gone.
and you may not come back. So
Right.
if you start it up, that's what I'm saying. If you're not sure you want to do a blog, you can start writing the content and not publish it yet. Wait 6 months, and then you got all the stuff, and you could schedule, have it all ready. So you can be getting ready for launch and have that stuff in your back pocket. Same with the graphics. When you're writing your book and you have a really good line that you think would make a good quote, throw it into a file and you have that for later. You can start pulling that stuff together when you're getting ready to launch. So there's ways to plan ahead for this stuff, that it doesn't make it all at once. Anything else? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, on Facebook, I make a big effort to wish all my followers, happy birthday.
Happy
when it
birthday.
comes up. That's very important, because
It is.
there's not very many that do it a lot of times, and there'll be other authors or other,
Yeah.
publishers, different things.
That's relationship marketing right there. You're creating a relationship. They feel special. You remembered their birthday. Now, the nice thing about Facebook is they remind you of his birthday.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I have 5,000 followers on mine, and I was doing that for a while, and I'm just like, that's all I'm doing is wishing for me. So you have to decide, but I think that's a great starting point. You're connecting with people that maybe haven't seen you in a while. All right, well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being here.